For years, Egypt Sherrod was one of HGTV's most trusted faces. Friendly, confident, and really good at what she did. But in June 2025, everything changed. Right after coming home from a Mediterranean vacation, she arrived back in America only to find out that Married to Real Estate had been canceled without warning. No heads up, no talk about it, just a cold, sudden ending. Her public message thanked fans, but her eyes in the video she posted told a different story. Frustration, hurt, and something deeper she wasn't ready to talk about. Later interviews showed a tough season 4 full of bad communication, production delays, and decisions that went against her own ideas. Egypt Sherrod's story starts in Philadelphia, where she was born on November 16, 1976, as the oldest of 4 kids. Growing up in her grandparents' house shaped her in ways she didn't fully understand back then. Her bedroom was literally a closet, just wide enough to fit her bed. That tiny space planted a dream in her young mind. One day, she would have a closet bigger than the room she slept in as a child. It sounds simple, but moments like that often lead to much bigger dreams. As she got older, Egypt studied broadcasting and telecommunications at Temple University, earning her Bachelor of Arts degree. And like many students trying to figure out their path, she took a part-time job as a receptionist at the university's public radio station. But it didn't take long for her energy and personality to push her beyond the front desk. The station's production director saw something special in her almost right away. He encouraged her to try out for an on-air spot, and Egypt later said that moment was the seed that changed her life. One small chance opened the door to a dream she didn't even know she was chasing yet. That seed grew fast. Egypt's radio career took her from Baltimore to Philadelphia, then to New York City and Atlanta. Over the years, she talked with some of the biggest names on the planet. Oprah Winfrey, Prince, Leonardo DiCaprio, Martin Scorsese, just to name a few. She became a voice people knew, trusted, and followed. But even as her radio career grew, another passion was quietly building in the background. Real estate. It wasn't a new interest. It was part of her family's DNA. Her relatives were heavily involved in property and investments, and she grew up hearing one message over and over. Real estate is the foundation of wealth. That idea stuck with her. So, when she bought a rundown home, fixed it up, and saw the change with her own eyes, she got hooked. The radio personality everyone knew was also a licensed real estate agent, sneaking off to property showings while her coworkers went sneaker shopping. That brings the story to Mike Jackson. While Egypt was building homes and building her career, Mike was splitting his time between radio DJ work and construction in New York City. When he first saw her, it was at a nightclub packed with thousands of people. Yet somehow, the spotlight seemed to fall on her alone. In that moment, he felt something so strong, he told security he needed to get backstage because he had to talk to her. Egypt felt the spar too, but she had one firm rule that kept her grounded. Never date someone in the entertainment industry. It was advice she held on to tightly. Still, Mike believed they were meant to cross paths again, and he was right. Their next meeting happened at the Puerto Rican Day Parade. Mike was shirtless on a float practicing for a performance, and Egypt kept walking around the float, trying to get a closer look. A friend nudged her when Mike called her name, but he never asked for a number. He said later he didn't want to risk being rejected in front of her friend. Destiny didn't need a phone number, though. Just a few months later, they ended up working together on their first renovation project in New Jersey. Even with the chemistry, their relationship didn't start off smooth. Both carried emotional baggage from past relationships, and Mike's ex-wife added even more tension. Things became so complicated that they postponed their wedding to work through the issues surrounding his first child. Egypt spoke openly about how much it affected them, especially as everyone was trying to find healthy boundaries. But Egypt had her own inner work to do. Old scars from past relationships were bleeding into her new one. During an interview for the series Black Love, she explained how the emotional bruises she carried were shaping her reactions with Mike. He eventually had to tell her directly that she was treating him as if he had caused all the hurt created by others. It was a tough moment, but also a turning point. Egypt went to therapy, determined to break those patterns and clear the path toward the future she wanted. Eventually, after working through their struggles, Egypt Sherrod and Mike Jackson finally got married in 2010 at the beautiful Westmount Country Club in New Jersey. The road to the altar came with one last twist. Egypt slipped into full bridezilla mode, wanting every detail to be perfect. Her mother stepped in with a firm spiritual reminder to slow down and pray. That moment grounded her, and the couple was able to enjoy the celebration they had fought so hard to reach. Their wedding wasn't just beautiful, it was star-studded. Coco from SWV performed the hit Week during the reception, and Q Parker from 112 sang Luther Vandross is Here and Now as Egypt walked down the aisle. A little over a year into their marriage, Egypt Sherrod and Mike Jackson stepped into parenthood together when their daughter Kendall was born in January 2012. It was a beautiful milestone for them. But for Egypt, the experience came with a side she never expected. Motherhood hit hard, and not just in the sleepless night, new baby kind of way. She fell into postpartum depression, and it quietly shook her confidence to its core. She later shared at the Black Love Summit that she had fallen into a space where she didn't even recognize herself. The toughest part was that Egypt had no idea what she was dealing with. She didn't realize it was postpartum depression until she came across an article that finally made the pieces click. As the years passed, Egypt and Mike dreamed of growing their family. They tried for 5 long years without success, and frustration slowly crept in. At the same time, Egypt was dealing with the painful reality of endometriosis. The condition had gotten so severe that doctors recommended a partial hysterectomy. She prepared for the surgery, trying to accept that her window for another baby had closed. Then right before the operation, everything changed. She learned she was pregnant. After years of disappointment, it felt like nothing short of a miracle. In February 2019, she welcomed her daughter Harper into the world, healthy, full of life, and a long-prayed for blessing. But the joy of Harper's arrival quickly turned into fear. Not long after coming home from the hospital, Egypt found herself gasping for air. She described it as feeling like she was drowning every time she tried to sleep. The situation was so scary, she was rushed back to the hospital where doctors discovered a dangerous buildup of fluid in her lungs, a complication from her C-section. She later said that if she hadn't gone back, she might not have survived. By 2022, that simple idea turned into something much bigger. Egypt and Mike launched their own show, Married to Real Estate, and viewers connected with them right away. From day one, the series felt relatable and grounded. Mike later explained that the show resonated because people saw themselves in it. Family moments, construction challenges, real-life tension, and genuine partnership. The response was so strong that HGTV renewed the show for a second season within months. In June 2025, Mike Jackson and Egypt Sherrod returned from an incredible Mediterranean vacation, only to be met with news they never saw coming. Their hit HGTV series had been suddenly canceled. Months later, when they sat down with People magazine, the truth behind Season 4 began to come into focus. A brand new production team had been brought in, and despite Mike and Egypt serving as executive producers, the team repeatedly overruled their decisions. Egypt explained that for the first time, they didn't feel respected within their own series. Egypt revealed that when they reached out to the network for support, their calls and emails were met with silence. Meanwhile, production kept stalling without explanation. Those delays created real problems for their business. Despite the end of their HGTV era, Mike and Egypt are stepping boldly into a new phase built on freedom, creativity, and a fan base that continues to grow.